Welcome to The Clopen Effect, a retail podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us today. I'm your host, Meredith.
And I'm your host, Cass.
Let's have some fun.
Never had a dishwasher.
I've had a dishwasher.
You've never had a dishwasher? I mean, you always have one
right,
there,
right.
but
Quote
it's
unquote,
never
I've never
worked.
had a dishwasher. I've had 3 in the spot that I carry a dishwasher in my kitchen, and they never frickin' work.
You have the worst luck with appliances.
Okay, so the first 10 years I lived here, our water conditioner thing never worked. So,
so
it always
got all
broke my
gunked up.
dishwashers.
Yeah,
of course. And then we're the kind of people that we don't maintain anything here. So until
you just buy
pitch
new.
a fit like a toddler, Steve's like, okay, go shopping. How was your weekend?
It's great. I didn't do anything.
Oh, really?
I didn't do anything all weekend.
I worked. I was in
I know.
Cincy.
You were out of town all weekend long.
Yep.
Are we recording?
Yeah.
Oh. Hello, everybody.
What's up, everybody?
Happy Friday. I thought we were still just talking
Heck
nonsense.
No, I'm telling everybody about my dishwasher.
Oh.
Maybe somebody like Maytag, maybe they'll sponsor us and throw
Who'd
a
you buy it
dishwasher
from?
in there for me.
Samsung? Because that's your fridge, right?
Okay,
you got the.
Everyone just went because Samsung's terrible.
There's a whole
yes,
Facebook
my fridge is
group.
Samsung.
Yeah.
But my dishwasher's Maytag. I need to get it all. I just need to buy a new house. Just start fresh.
Your house is beautiful.
Just start fresh. It's outdated. Yeah, so you had a nice relaxing weekend?
Yeah.
Good.
And you got to spend the weekend in Cincinnati.
Yeah, so I was at a food fest.
Number 7 in crime in the country.
Yes.
I might add.
Yes, I was very nervous. Like we know, when I was driving around, I had nervous poops. I hated it. I didn't drink any coffee.
You didn't have any coffee?
Heck no, I was nervous. I was so nervous. I had white pants all weekend too. Like I was like, no, absolutely
Why would you take
not.
white pants on
I didn't know the
vacation?
crime was like they were number 7 in the nation. How am I supposed to know? I was so nervous. I'm like, don't look the wrong way. And you had to walk everywhere. So I was like, oh my goodness. I did give my pasta to a homeless woman on Saturday night. It made me feel good. I even had a plastic fork for her. I was so excited.
Was she excited?
Yes.
Oh,
I said, I don't
nice.
have money. I said, but I have pasta. She goes, I like pasta.
Who
I'm like,
doesn't like
perfect.
pasta?
Speaking of,
I had Olive Garden yesterday.
we have a pasta pro
That's
here.
probably the worst thing ever.
He's shaking his head right now because you mentioned Olive Garden. Hi,
Hey,
Craig.
Hi.
It wasn't my pick, okay? It's not
was
where
so
I would have
great.
picked to go.
Oh,
You
so
all were
great.
headed for a really amazing segue, and then it just took a left into a tree.
Leave it to me. It's always me. I always mess it up.
Hi, Craig. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. I'm going to try to recover from that. You keep talking. I'll be all right.
Craig's from Americano in Woodstock, Illinois. We're so excited he's here. I probably
Yes.
said that 500 times today to people I
Yes.
talked to. I'm so excited.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. Jennifer set us up. She connected. She sent me a message and said, hey, I have someone that you might want to interview. I said, perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah. So thanks, Jennifer.
We love people. We love new people.
So tell us.
Here I am.
Yeah. Tell us where you were before you are here now.
Before I was here now, so I'm fairly new to this neck of the woods. My wife and I moved up to Woodstock, almost 2 years ago now.
Okay.
Before that, we lived in the city. I was the chef for the Google offices downtown.
Okay.
Oh.
So we were making breakfast and lunch every day for, before the pandemic, 1,400 people a day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then the pandemic started, and it plummeted to 30.
Yeah.
There were like
gosh, yes.
30 engineers. I always joke, it was like the guys who were keeping the internet on. Like,
Yeah.
Those 30 guys just could not work from home.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So I had a team of sous chefs, and we would, on a rotation, we would go in and feed lunch to these guys like 2 or 3 days a week. And so I had all this free time where I was going nuts, frankly. And my staff were like, oh, chef, we've been making food and selling it on social media. It's like, sorry, what? You're doing what now? Like, I've seen your food. I should try this. Like, if people are buying your food, maybe they'll buy mine. And so I started making pasta. And gosh, this was January of 21. And I gave away 3 meal kits of pasta. I made some sauce. I put some cheese in it. I made some pasta. I gave away 3. And by June, I was in the Woodstock Farmers Market and making like 180 pounds of pasta a week.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
So-
That's amazing.
So how do you do something like that?
Hopefully, at least Olive Garden quality. At the very least, I don't do unlimited breadsticks. but I like to think.
I am positive that your pasta is better than Olive.
You do not use a microwave, I'm guessing.
No, nothing I do is boiled in a bag and put on your plate. So,
like I said, I didn't pick the plastic.
No, you didn't, but you're going to take the fall for it. That's the problem.
I'm crying.
Sweating.
We got like an awesome pasta maker here, and I'm just talking about Olive Garden.
You didn't. That was probably the first time in over a year and a half you didn't catch my cues. You know, you're like, we went to Olive Garden.
I went to Olive Garden.
I mean, you don't lie. You know, it's the truth.
I ate a lot of breadsticks.
Oh gosh, that was great. Anyway, sorry about that.
So no, please. I was making pasta, and just word got out, and a couple of guys kind of approached me about thinking I wanted a restaurant. I was like, no,
It's 7 days a week, 24/7, right? Yeah.
My 100-hour weeks are over.
Yeah.
Behind me.
Yeah.
And I said, but I have this other idea my wife and I had been working on and kind of rattling around in our heads, and that was Americano.
Wow.
Wine, pasta, specialty items. She and I had worked together. We met at Italy downtown.
Mm-hmm.
She ran the entire store for 2 years. I tell people she's a hell of a lot better at her job than I am at mine. And you know, when we came out to Woodstock, we kept hearing about how there were people in this area that had moved out from the city, like our age, and they were into that sort of, for lack of a better way to put it, that city experience.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to go an hour and a half one
Right.
way
Yeah.
on the train to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're hoping, and we've seen, and it's kind of growing from, organically, that it's, people are finding us, and they're happy to not have to spend 3 hours round trip to get a good bottle of wine and hang out.
Yeah.
And have a good time.
I saw you have amazing cheese also.
We do.
Yeah,
Which
tell us all
is
about what you have,
My
please.
favorite thing in the world. I love cheese.
Cheese is great. We should
Yeah.
talk about my gallbladder later because
Yeah.
cheese probably
Yeah,
leads to that.
definitely.
So my gallbladder is all I've talked about for a month. So I've got plenty of stories about that.
Oh,
Okay.
I
gosh.
fill 3 hours on that.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
No, so yeah, we constantly are rotating through like 5 or 6 cheeses, many of them domestic. We've always got burrata, we've always got Parmesan, and then we find just really cool artisan cheesemakers and try to showcase their products. A lot of what we believe in is that everything we have in the store tells a story. Whether it's, the product or the people who make it or where it's from, like food and wine and everything we do, it has a sense of place and it's got a story to tell. And that's what we're excited about, is telling those stories.
Do you try to
amazing.
stay local with your vendors or your suppliers?
Suppliers, yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard. If I wanted to stock amazing cheddar cheeses,
yeah.
I could go all over.
No problem.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I can drive to Wisconsin 3
Right.
days
Of
a week.
course.
And come, but
Right.
we try to mix and match and do it up.
Yeah.
Like we've got a cheese from Utah that's great. We had some from North Carolina that I loved, and I was the only person who bought it, so we don't have that one anymore. But it's
Darn it.
yeah. Well, it was really stinky. It was like,
Yeah.
you would open the cooler and it was like, why does it smell like mushrooms in here?
Oh,
We don't have
wow.
mushrooms. It's like, well, no, that's the cheese.
Oh,
It
man.
was really good. But yeah, we just try to, some of it's been a learning curve, it's like, well, you start with a point of view and then very quickly, your clientele tells you what they want,
Yeah.
what they're looking for. And at some point you have to find that medium between your point of view and what
Yeah.
the story you're trying to tell and, having a successful business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Like I want to keep the doors open. I still want to tell my stories.
See,
and
if
tell
I
their
walked into a
stories.
place like yours, I would just be like, just do what you do.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? I would not try to be like, well, I really want this. What the hell do
But
I
we're
know?
not those kind of people. We know that other people are. Like, we think you should. That's always something that we talk about.
I never do that.
Never. I'm like,
I'm
what's
just
your
like,
specialty?
show me what's up.
Yep.
Sweet. You're two of my favorite people.
Yeah.
Because there are
We're
dozens
easygoing.
of people. It's been the hardest part for me in all the years I've been a chef and then doing what I do is just how many people have opinions about what you should do with your
Yeah.
business.
We just had
crazy.
a conversation with our other friends
Yeah.
from Richmond. Yeah,
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
We can say it at the Brat House. They talk about how people are always like,
know what
everything
you
is
should
really
do?
great, but
Yeah.
you should do that. And it's like, shut up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
If you want it
You
like
run a
that,
business.
open your own business.
So
us
how
alone.
hard was it to leave the city to come to Woodstock? I know you said that you had a couple of guys reach out to you. I mean, was it hard to switch, or were you like, yeah, I'm ready for something new?
The pandemic really kind of took a lot out of my energy for doing what I was doing. I also grew up outside Los Angeles.
Oh, wow.
And I watched my parents commute their lives away for the entire time we lived there. You know, when I was junior high and high school, my mom was going 2 hours one way down to work. And
That's crazy.
I didn't want to do that. You know, working the hours I was working, going there, not a problem. I'm downtown in an hour and 15. Mm-hmm. But if you leave after 1 o'clock in the afternoon,
we know that.
It's like a 3-hour drive home.
Right, right.
So, yeah, I miss being in the city and kind of the lifestyle down there sometimes.
Was it really quiet out here when you first moved here?
Yeah, which was the one thing I was really excited about.
Yeah.
Because I tell people I was tired of being able to hear my neighbor's music at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I was working restaurant hours,
right.
Cool, I'm still up.
Right.
I don't care. But I worked this corporate job for Google, and the alarm's going off at 4:30. It's like, guys, come on.
Yeah.
Tone it
That's
down.
terrible.
And then I turned into that old man who was like, it's 2 a.m. I'm going to knock on the wall.
So I lived in an apartment once, right? And I was young. I was probably 19, 20 at the time. And there was the neighbor next door would wake up at 6 a.m. every morning and scream at her fucking kids, right? But then, God forbid, Saturday night, 8 o'clock, we got music on, got a couple people over. She'd be banging on the wall. I'm like, listen here. I wake up every morning to you screaming at your kids. Shut the hell up. I just slammed the door in her face.
So your business is in Woodstock. Do you also live in Woodstock or nearby?
I think technically I don't.
Okay.
I'm technically
like
outside.
unincorporated.
It's that unincorporated area between like Marengo and Woodstock.
Okay, so even quieter.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you know where All Seasons Orchard is, we're
I
right
do not
over
know
near
where
there.
that is.
Oh, beautiful.
No.
Good.
It's pretty cool. You should
It's
check
really
it out.
quiet.
Yeah.
It's
really
very
quiet.
I bet you see a lot more stars here than you do in the city.
100%.
Yeah.
Do you have
Isn't that
chipmunks
awesome?
and rabbits?
Stop it.
Well, I do have chipmunks.
We have a zoo here.
I firmly believe that the squirrels are amassing an army to take my house back.
Yes.
They really, because I'll sit there and I'm drinking my coffee and it's like, okay, there's like 30 within my eye line, and those are just the ones.
And they're
I can
watching you,
see.
and then they
Yeah.
chit
Oh, yeah.
at you. Yeah, they're like, get out of here. We're
Yeah.
trying to eat nuts.
I work with people that live in the city, and so I'll talk to them about like what's going on here. They're like, I saw a pigeon this morning.
Oh
Like,
my
that's
God,
it, you know,
a big rat.
Yeah.
I saw some rats this morning.
about it.
Digging in the
I'm like, we have a
garbage.
zoo here. Sometimes a horse walks by.
Yes, you do have your neighbor rides horses.
Let's talk about
the
this.
first, hold on. The first time I heard a fox,
Oh yeah.
Did you think it
thought
was a
something
skinwalker?
was coming out to kill
Yeah.
me. I really did.
Yeah.
I was
I know.
packing
What
my
about the
trailer up. I was
coyotes?
going to a farmer's market. Well, coyotes I was used to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
Southern California, and then I was in
Okay.
Arizona. So like
Yeah.
coyotes, I'm down with coyotes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Foxes, no.
Yeah, they scream like a
No,
little kid or
dude.
something, right? Yeah.
Like the chupacabra's coming out to get me or something. You know, that was really, really frightening.
That's awesome. How'd you figure out it was a fox? Did you see it?
Like with most things out here, I ran it by my father-in-law, who knows like everything. Like, hey, I heard this thing, and he like dials it up on his phone. Is did it sound like this? Like, yeah, that's
Oh, that's so funny.
That's excellent. That's
so
excellent.
funny. That's great.
So your wife is still at Italy, or is
No.
she helping you out with Americano?
She helps when she can. She is the one of us with like an actual honest to God day job.
Yeah.
She manages the food service for a very large automotive interest, let's say.
Yeah.
Okay.
They've got a couple of places around the country. She works for the company that provides their food service, and
Okay.
she manages all of that. Sort of the same company that I was working for when I was Google was my client.
Okay.
I worked for another company that provided food service for Google.
Okay.
She works for a different division, works for this other company. She's on the road 2 or 3 days a week. Me and the girls get to hang out at home all the time.
Yeah. Cool.
So
And
How many girls?
yeah, I was gonna say.
the girls are 6 and 18 months.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
my gosh,
Yeah.
young family.
Yeah,
That's
and
amazing.
My son is 16.
Oh, wow.
Lives in the city with
Very
his mom.
good. Okay, very
16
good.
going on 26.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah.
That's a hard age.
Yeah, he's a good kid though.
Do
He
they love
gets it.
food and work? Like to cook and all that? Or I know the young ones. I'm not sure, but
No, they go back and forth. My son's a plain eater, which has always gotten me. I never
Yeah.
like to this day he's still like butter and noodles. Like come on,
Really?
dude. Like this is what I
Well,
do.
you know what? If it's good pasta, I'll
you
just
don't
eat
need
it.
much.
Fair.
I'll eat it
Yeah.
with butter
Fair.
also.
Yeah.
You know.
But no, the girls, the 18-month-old, she kind of goes in streaks where it's like she won't touch something, like won't touch bananas, and then one day she eats 3.
Yes.
You know,
So
sounds like
weird.
an 18-month-old.
It's so weird. Kids
she's
are
a
weird.
human wrecking ball too.
I don't have kids, but I've been around a lot of kids my whole life, and kids are fucking weird.
She doesn't have kids.
I have no kids.
You can say that.
I can say that. Kids are weird. I think everybody can agree that kids are weird. Even if you have kids.
My kids are not weird.
Oh my God.
Craig's
like
kids
they
are not weird.
never
I can
did
tell already.
anything weird.
Nope.
Like eat 3 bananas in a day.
I don't think so.
It's weird.
That's not weird.
All right.
So who cooks at the house?
Oh man, here's where it gets fun. I almost never have time to cook at the house, and so like food. People think, "Oh, you're a chef. Food must be great at home."
Right.
No, it's
No.
boring as hell.
Yeah.
It really is.
You're like making frozen
slap
pizzas.
stuff together.
Yeah.
Partially because you never know what the 6-year-old is not going
Right.
to eat. It's like,
Right,
I'm not
true,
playing this
true.
game. Like, yeah. So I
Yeah.
try to keep it simple. We actually just got really excited about one of those meal delivery.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, because the nights when I'm getting
Yeah.
out of the store late and I just like the girls are either gonna gnaw an arm off or I got to do something
Yes.
quick. It's cool to like just grab the ingredients that are in the bag and I can throw
Yes.
things together.
I also
don't have to
do
think about
that.
it. I can
Yes.
just do that.
That's
you
my
know?
favorite thing is that you don't have to think about dinner. Like it's there. Everything you need is there. Perfect.
Yeah, not having to grocery shop
Yes.
is amazing. Like
Yeah.
having that hour
Shows
and a
up
half
on your door
in my
and that's
week
it.
back is awesome.
Yeah.
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 I
So,
spend
yeah.
all day in a store and I still don't want to shop. So
I would love to tell you that I'm an amazing grocery shopper and I
No.
cook at home all the time, but ain't nobody got time for
it's
that.
not reality.
You know, when I was in stores all the time, I would shop every day. So every day it didn't feel like
Right.
I was spending a lot of money. And then after I would look by the end of the week, I'm like, man, because you don't get
spent
stuff on
$400
sale.
bucks.
You don't care
Yeah.
about sales when you're
Right.
shopping every day for dinner.
Right.
I'd grab this and this, chicken, all this. I wouldn't even like worry about it. And then at the end of the week, I'm like, did I just spend $500
Yeah.
on dinner?
I know.
Instead of shopping once a week when
know.
you're like budgeting and here's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And so I'm
That's
glad
what I like about the
stopped
meal
doing that.
service too, is that
Yeah, it's
just to
reasonable.
make one meal, I could spend $50. Or I could spend $50, get 2 meals delivered to my house for me and my husband.
Well, and I like that it's portioned too because
Yeah.
I always make too much. Always make too much. Like there's 4 of us.
We're leftover
2 are
people.
vegetarians
Yeah.
and 2 are meat. We call them megans. And I always make too much.
Yeah.
And then we have leftovers for 3 days that no one's going to touch on the second or third day. So
Well, your husband will in the middle of the night with his tiny bowls.
he's a raccoon.
That's why I think the pasta meal kits were so successful right off the bat. Like we were still kind of coming out of the pandemic. Everybody was still mostly eating at
Yes.
home. And then here comes, me with my pasta kit for 2 people or 4 people or whatever.
I
Yeah.
think that the pandemic actually very much helped you because more people were cooking at home. They weren't going out to eat so much. They
And they
didn't
wanted
want to go to
convenience.
the store. Right. So that was a very smart move on your part, I do believe.
I tried to learn as many lessons as I could
Yeah.
from because I knew coming out of this that restaurants and retail like food operations they weren't going to be the same. They're not going to be the same. If
Right.
you are
Yeah.
trying to exist in that old model, it's not going to work.
Right.
Conversely, I will say I've noticed a lot. One of the things that's been really hard is a lot of people just want to get back to that. Like the
Yeah.
clientele is not ready for this new
Right.
thing that we live in. They just want it to be February of 2020 again.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's
never
not.
gonna be that
it's
way.
never going to
way.
be that.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's a certain level of restaurant, the kind that I came up in, that the cooks have a little more finesse. It's that level above mom and pop, right? It's not fine dining. It's not like $500 a head, but it's not $14.99 an entree either.
Right.
That level of restaurant was struggling even before the pandemic.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's practically killed that style
Yeah.
of dining.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
you
agree.
either have the people who can still afford $500 for dinner. God bless them; those restaurants are great. There's a place for them, or there's, takeout or those types of places are always going to survive because it's quick, it's easy, it's
Yeah.
delicious. So
I'm going to ask about your personality now. So chefs, you watch the Hollywood movies and they're either like super kind or they're not at all. They're very like, so how are you with your
Are
sous
you-
chef?
are
Like,
you
tell us all about,
Ramsay?
yeah.
Or
no,
are
no,
you
no.
Like I want to
like
know how you work
Tyler?
with like if I asked a sous chef that worked under you, with you, however you say it, what would they say?
oh man,
Maybe we should have brought one.
yeah, you should. I'll give you some phone numbers before I go. You can check in with my references.
We're gonna have to check, see if you're telling us the truth.
I think It would depend on which sous chef you were talking to at which point in my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us about all of them.
So if you go far enough back, you probably run into some guys who are like, oh yeah, Craig's like he's pretty talented, but he's got some issues.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I kind of worked through that, and I learned how to manage people more effectively.
Which is hard.
It is. It's really hard, and because I came up in restaurants where I was surrounded by guys for whom what we were doing was a career, it was a calling, and so they were like hyper motivated. They wanted to be there every day. But what happens is you don't learn how to manage people for whom it is just a job.
Yeah.
And so that was really hard, and I couldn't understand, and I didn't know how to relate to people who weren't as excited to be there as I was. They weren't as motivated to
The dishwasher
to make great
wasn't
food.
as motivated as you.
No.
I don't believe that. What?
I get it. Dishwashers are probably the second most important person in my operation. Like my sous chef and my dishwasher.
Yeah.
That's 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And so once I kind of figured that out, I think I got a lot better at getting results from people in just a better way. Like I always said I didn't want to be the guy who screamed. And I'm not Ramsey. I was never that guy. I think I had moments where, like, you knew when I was pissed off.
Oh, as we all do.
And I believe, I don't remember who said it, but they said, if I have to scream, I've already lost.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I tried to remember that. And
I like that.
I remember getting screamed at and how awful it made me feel. And you try to do it differently, but then you fall back on that because that's what you know. That's how you learn. And it's like, no, there's got to be a better way of doing this.
Yeah.
So now I think, when people know I'm mad, it's just I go the opposite way. I get really quiet. Yeah.
Because then you're thinking.
If you have pissed me off,
Yeah.
I'm going to walk away.
Yeah.
And you're not going to talk to me for a minute so that I don't say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing. Something I'm going to, because I don't want to take whatever out on them. Maybe they made an honest mistake.
Yeah.
That's the other thing is I don't want people to be afraid to tell me when they've done something wrong, because then we're really screwed.
Yeah.
Like if you're afraid to tell me something's wrong.
Yeah.
Like if I'm scared to tell you I forgot to put in the app before I put in the entree, and now their entree's
like
dying
you've been
in
quadruple
the window.
sat, and it's like yeah. That's another thing. If you work in restaurants, I firmly believe this. Everyone should work 6 months front and back, because then you all know what the other is going through. I have bartended. I've been a captain in a fine dining restaurant. I've been a chef.
What's a captain?
The guy who
front of
comes
house?
over, a real person. Yeah, front of house.
Okay.
It was fine dining, and so there was me, and maybe I had a back waiter, someone who's filling your water, bringing your plates, and I'm just the guy taking orders. And wearing a coat and being fancy and handsome, and
Serving old fashions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Serving, drinking too many afterwards, for sure.
Okay, so you know how I knew the kitchen was mad at me? I've talked about this before. I would go to put a plate on my arm, and it would be scalding hot. They would set the plate on the griddle and be like, "Here, bitch."
Did you do that kind of stuff?
I've never done
you?
That.
No.
Okay.
No. I would not I would not.
It's like, I'm classier than that.
Right. No, I would not try to physically injure somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to take a break real quick, and we're going to find out the truth. No, I'm just kidding.
How many people have you burned?
Did you guys do like a bonus section on Patreon, like 30 minutes where I tell you the real truth?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
What kind of mistakes can happen in a kitchen?
Oh my God, what can't
I was going to say,
in a
we should
kitchen?
start with what can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Basically, anything can happen.
And it will.
Yeah.
Anything will. And it will always be at the wrong time.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times on a Saturday night with a full rail, all of a sudden the grease trap backs up.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
You know, or servers get quadruple sat, and
Yeah.
servers don't talk to each other, and this server's been triple sat, and that one's got like a party of 12, and then it all comes in at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Okay.
Or things get rung in wrong, or then the opposite is the cooks not paying attention to what's being told and not talking to each other.
Yeah.
And so this guy's got a dish up and I'm waiting on a risotto, or God forbid, a risotto comes up and I'm still waiting on other food because that pisses me off.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
Risotto's like a living thing. It's
Yes.
got to go.
It needs to go. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a clumpy disaster.
Right.
You think I talk about pasta a lot. Wait till we get going on risotto.
I want to hear all about risotto. I love risotto.
I do too. And if you're listening to this and you go to Italian restaurants and your risotto has structure, like it stands up in the bowl, stop going to that Italian restaurant.
It's sat there for too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or they're just not making it right.
Yeah.
It should like lay
It should
flat.
be kind of
Do you
little
go out
soupy,
to eat
not
ever?
soupy.
Or
not as much as I used to.
okay, I'm wondering if it's hard for you to
It
find.
is hard for me.
Well, it's hard to
certainly
not
hard for me to
critique.
get. Yeah.
Right.
I don't mind. I don't mind places that are. I hate to use this word. I don't mind mediocre food, if I can tell that people care.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, but like mediocre food and people who don't give a shit.
Right.
That really sets me off.
I would say that's probably most of our listeners and us.
Yeah.
Would feel
But
the
some
same.
people don't know. You know what I mean?
That's true.
They know nothing else.
That's true.
I feel like a lot of time I go to Florida a lot, and I feel like a lot of places we go to sometimes it's just like this is mediocre food that they don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like it's a popular area, so they know people are going to show up no matter what because it's one of a few places that are open late at night, say, or something like that. So they just don't give a shit because people are going to come no matter what.
I'm gonna take a wild stab. Naples.
Daytona Beach.
Daytona Beach. Naples is like a Chicagoland halfway house. My in-laws have a place in Naples. I know like a dozen people with a place in Naples.
It's funny though. Yeah.
So looking back at all the dishes you've ever created, what was one of your favorites and what was one of your worst and why?
Oh, this is interesting. I love this.
Worst. I'm gonna circle back on that one.
Okay.
God. Best. The one that always sticks out in my mind is it's the one that I remember because it was when I really started to feel confident in what I was doing as someone who made pasta professionally. And it wasn't something I didn't reinvent the wheel or anything. I just got really good at making carbonara.
Ooh.
It's bacon, eggs, and cheese.
Delicious.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
And when I was at Italy, all the pizza guys were Italians. They'd all come over from Italy. They all ran the pizza ovens. And these guys would not give me the time of day for cooking them food.
Really?
I mean, you can't see me at home, but like I'm nobody's idea of an Italian grandmother, right? Like this is nothing about this screams. I'm about as Italian as a pint of Guinness. Okay? and so I'd be like, guys, come on, let me cook for you. Like they're constantly throwing pizzas at us. Like, let me make you a pasta. Come on, I'll give you something. Finally, after like 2 months, this guy relents and he said, I just, okay, make me whatever. So I make him a carbonara, and he wouldn't give me anything at all. It just, hey, how's it?
No feedback.
How is it? And he just goes,
kind of like shrugged his shoulders and whatever.
I was like, okay, that's all I need to know. Like that is.
Well, he didn't
like,
say it was bad.
Yeah.
To me, that's like a compliment, though. Like
That's
it was
exactly
nothing
how
bad
I
to
took
say.
it. He didn't give me a bunch of garbage about it. He was just,
Yeah. It's not my grandmother's, but it's good.
Yeah, and that is something you learn very early on.
Yeah.
When you cook Italian food, if your grandmother made it, I don't care how good look. I will put my meatballs up against anybody's. But if your grandmother made meatballs, no matter how good mine are, they are never going to be the same.
Yeah.
Ever. Ever.
That's like Franny's. My husband's mom was
She
full
was the
Italian,
meatball queen.
100% Italian, meatballs
Yeah.
and sauce. You just never will compare to that ever. He tries. Him and his sister try to make it just like her.
Okay,
but
but
it's not
your
the same.
husband makes a badass bruschetta.
He does. He
And
does.
Megan, Bud's girlfriend, Megan, she makes bruschetta all the time, and she's like, Steve's bruschetta was just so fucking good.
So Megan would ask Steve last time she saw him, like, what are you putting it? And he almost like didn't want to tell her.
It's a secret.
Yeah, it's kind of like, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Like, I'm not telling you. No one's going to compete with my bruschetta.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't necessarily have like worse dishes. I think of all those times where I've screwed something up.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
And what really gets me is when I screw up something that I've done 1,000 times.
And what would be the screw up?
That's the
Just
worst.
obviously
Like,
wrong
you
spice.
Scorch a bechamel.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like one of the
Okay.
simplest things in the world to do.
Okay, knock on wood. I've never done that before.
Never scorched a bechamel.
Were you
Isn't that
cooking for
amazing?
200 people in a
Well done.
restaurant?
No.
Okay.
I was probably like making biscuits and gravy at home. Easy.
Well, when you make a lot of it,
Yeah.
the surface area gets a little weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're also trying to do 6 other things
Yes.
at the same
Yeah.
time, and I can't tell you how many times I'll be working and it's like,
Oh,
I smell,
no.
oh shit, I smell burning milk.
Oh no,
That is the
Like-
worst.
like,
Burning milk
literally,
is the
like,
worst.
one of the 5 mother sauces, and I
Yeah.
just screwed it up.
Yeah.
Right. Or
What do you do? There's nothing you can do, right? You gotta toss it and start over.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Once
Yeah,
it's burnt,
'cause
you
it's
can't
burnt all the way
recover it.
through,
You can
like
taste it.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
you can taste it. And I used to work for a chef who, like, when we would make it, he could taste it if you didn't cook the flour out.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel
you
like
get
I
raw
can
flour
too.
taste.
Not, I like to eat.
So
We all
you
know
feel like
this.
you could, yeah.
But I agree with
Yeah.
that. I can taste it if you didn't cook the flour
Raw flour
enough.
is a thing.
Yes.
I would make soup in that restaurant. I was the first course cook there, and I would
soup
make
is
soup.
so good.
And I remember one time, it was like 10 pounds worth of onions, and I was cooking down, and I probably scorched like an eighth of a cup of those onions, an eighth of a cup. And he didn't see it. He had no idea.
Yeah.
And I made the soup. I was like, okay, it'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'm like, I
Did you
got
just
9 other
scoop out
things
the
to do.
eighth a cup? Is that what you did?
No, I just blended the soup. Right? I just figured he's not gonna. Comes along, he tastes the soup. I swear to God, he looks dead at me and he goes, "Burn those onions, didn't you?"
Oh my God.
What? How did he know?
Now that I probably wouldn't notice.
Oh God.
I kind of like burny onion taste.
I would
though.
cry
be
and
like,
just leave.
This is freaking delicious. What is this? What is this that I'm tasting? It's like char taste. I love it.
But I guess if it's the same, you have to
have
serve
to
the
be
same
consistent.
taste. Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
be consistent every single night.
Yes.
He's gonna
Yes.
be able to taste it. So I get that.
What about
for
French?
Sure.
Was it French onion soup you were making?
No, it was like a cauliflower soup. It was the onions, and I was taking veg stock and onions
Yeah.
and just blending
Probably
all of that
my favorite
up.
soup is French onion soup.
It's delicious.
And I worked at a small family restaurant for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
Kevy's been on here a few times. It's his parents' restaurant. They taught me how to make French onion soup. I love French onion soup. They made they still do make all their soups homemade. It's like the one thing, because I know when I go to a restaurant and they're like, oh, it's cream or whatever, and you're like, it came out of a bag.
There's
Yeah.
a base.
Yeah.
There's
It came out
totally
of
a base.
Their soup is so good because they make it homemade. So good. And their sausage gravy.
Is it the same every time too?
No.
Oh, it's not the same soup every
Well,
time. But it's the same taste every time.
The
if you get
French onion they have every single day. And then their other soup, they change daily.
And it's
Obviously,
consistent?
Friday it's clam chowder because they do fish fry.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? And
Friday
but
clam chowder's the best.
I don't want to say their soup tastes the same every time because it's like it's made with love differently every time. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah,
Like
yeah,
the
yeah.
cream of veggie or the cream of chicken with rice is just so freaking good. Maybe they put more lemon in it one time than they did the
Sure.
other. It's just always so good.
Yeah.
I
So
love
if-
homemade soup.
Without giving away too many secrets, what makes your pasta the best?
Love.
Experience.
Getting yelled at by an angry Italian
Yeah,
guy.
yeah. It's just all of it. Just I've been beaten down for 20 years.
Yeah.
And through that, I've sprouted
Yeah.
this pasta business.
A
Yeah.
little sweat in there.
No, some of it, some of it is give a shit, and some of it is know how, and some of it is just
I've always
I got
wanted
lucky.
to make homemade
Yeah.
pasta. I've never made homemade pasta.
people ask me if it's hard.
It's hard. It's hard to learn how to do it.
It's not hard. You just have to have a lot of time in your hands.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I have reached the point too where a lot of what I do, I have the help of 2 very outstanding pasta machines. Because I'm doing so much, and I what I do is I have bronze die extruded
Yes,
pasta.
I saw
right?
that on your website.
So each of my shapes has its own corresponding bronze die, and the machine mixes a blend. I use a blend of 2 flours. I've got semolina from Italy, and I use an organic fine durum from Janie's Mill down in Central Illinois.
Nice.
Flour and water, and even that Italian semolina. It's the Italians. God love them. They don't want to pay for anything. So that semolina is organic. They just never paid to have it certified.
Right.
Oh.
So I can't
right.
technically I
You
know
can't
these guys
call it,
have an organic
yes.
flour, but it's not been certified.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, I worked to find the right balance, and that Janie's flour really gives kind of an extra depth to the pasta. And then I fought myself and my own expectations for a long time on how to dry it properly. Because when you get pasta at the store, it's been dried at like 190 degrees for 3 hours. It just kind of kills what makes pasta
Right.
pasta. Each one of my shapes dries for between 22 and 28 hours, depending on
That's
which
awesome.
one it is. Low and slow.
I'm so excited to try some.
It takes. I'm such a dick. I didn't bring any pasta.
No, this gives me and Meredith
Was
an
that like-
excuse to
we
come
like
up
to
there.
visit places.
We love
so.
to visit places, so perfect. I
You are a
cannot
dick.
wait.
I didn't even eat dinner. I was like, he's gonna bring us some amazing pasta.
I was like 10 minutes out. I was like, man, should I brought a bottle of wine? Like, what should I oh, God. I'm sorry.
all
I'm
right.
sorry. You're going to have me
all
back.
Perfect. Perfect.
No, we'll come
excuse.
visit.
So yeah, and I just got it to where I wanted it, and I'm lucky. I've got a palate at home who's not afraid to tell me when I need to tweak things. And
Yeah.
I trust her more than anybody in the world, and
Yeah.
she's pointed me in the right direction when I need to be.
That's your 18-month-old?
Yeah.
No, Daddy, I don't like
The bowls,
it. All right,
the bowls
never
that she
put that.
doesn't throw against the wall, that's the winner. That's the winner. Yeah. So, and I make tagliatelle, I make ravioli, and I've
Ooh,
just
ravioli.
it's just trial and error a lot of
Yeah.
times. And
How many different types do you have?
right now for the summer, just to try to keep up with things, I have 4 that I make and dry, and then I rotate between 3 or 4 that I do fresh at every market.
Okay.
And so some of that is just the fresh is easier to keep up on, right? Because
Yeah.
I don't have to wait 28 hours for it to be
Right.
ready. I let it dry for a little bit just to give it that sort of protective coating on the outside so it doesn't stick together, and then I package it up. And I can pump, gosh. So when I dry the pasta, I make 100 pounds at a time. And then the dryer turns that 100 pounds overnight, or 24, whatever it is, into 75 to 80
oh my
pounds.
God, that's crazy.
Because it is just flour and water. Extruded pasta is about 30. We're going to get nerdy here. You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How long
Oh,
can I
yes.
go on? All right.
Keep going.
All of a sudden, I'm picturing myself, people falling asleep to this
No.
podcast.
No, absolutely
Not at
not.
It's like, oh,
Our listeners love
Craig
this.
started talking
Yes.
about pasta. It was the best nap I'd ever had.
Their mouths are watering right now, I'm sure.
No.
Extruded pasta is about 33% water, hydrated. And it force hydrates through that machine. And then I take about 20 to 22% of that water back out. And that's what makes it shelf stable. I got to get it below 12% to make it shelf stable. So it's a pasta. You bring it home, you put it on the shelf.
Yeah.
I've got a little meter that reads. I
was
take,
gonna say,
I
how
take
do you
some
know?
of that.
Yeah.
I take some of that finished pasta. I put it in a spice grinder, and then I take that flour, and then I have a little meter that measures the humidity in the powder.
Oh, that's
Wow.
crazy.
And if it's
How
below
much did
12,
that
I'm
cost
good to
you?
go. I got a
meter?
used one,
Oh, yeah.
and it was $800.
Yeah. I was
Wow.
going to say, that's some expensive equipment there. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the 2 machines and then the dryer. Yeah, it
Because
was a bit
bronzed
of an
eyes you
investment.
can only use for so long, right?
Yeah.
They start to break down over time.
Yeah, and the machine
Or misshape
you
it.
pump the machines the way I do, and
Yeah.
you got to give them a break. And it's I want to keep up with demand, but this machine, my little guy, is only going to give me so much before
Right.
it's
Yeah.
just like, you know what, I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peace.
Time for another one.
Maybe you better up your prices. Get another
Have you been talking to my father-in-law too? Because he helps me out at the market. Like he'll go out to Woodstock for me on Tuesday mornings,
Yeah.
and then he was in Palatine for me a few
We
times.
should have invited him too. I didn't even think about that.
Oh, he's a gas. But every time it's like, maybe we should up the prices. Nobody ever complains about the prices. It's like, let's just sell some pasta. We're doing.
You should have me come
People
sell
collect the
pasta
money,
for
man.
you. I think I should come sell pasta for you one day. I'll show you how much money you
There's
can make on
always
pasta.
do
a
it.
great science behind real good food. You know,
it's the only
like
thing
when we've
I-
had guests on here. It's always like
Yes.
they do it 100%, 1,000%.
The only good
Science.
thing I got from my dad is I could sell water to a well. I'm a
I
great
can
salesman.
pour a mean concrete wall.
You can. That's what
Dad's
her
a
dad did.
concrete guy.
I have zero skills in that area.
I'm pretty sure he
Well,
likes pasta though, so that's good.
Her dad and my husband are both concrete people, so if you need concrete work, we will trade for pasta.
Sweet. I can't imagine how much pasta it would take to cover the other side of that.
It's even weight. You need 80 pounds of concrete. I need 80 pounds of pasta.
I've been making pasta for 3 months to pay for this driveway.
You need 2 tons? Now we're really talking. I'm going to take some sauce with that too. We'll even it out.
Okay, so we talked about pandemic. When did you start the business?
So
Was it
this
end of
was
2020?
Third weekend in January of 21.
Of 21. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had the baby December of 20.
Okay.
December 23rd. That was fun.
Oh, that's
That poor
busy.
kid.
That's a busy
I
time.
was going to say, is she, okay, I'm going to call kids weird again. Is she weird because she is a pandemic baby? Like, I've seen so many people
Okay,
talk about
I'm going
the
to stop you right there.
babies.
This pandemic back, because I stop everybody on this one. This wasn't one of those things where, like, all of a sudden she and I were spending a whole lot of time together, right? We had been trying, okay?
I'm just
I
saying,
like to point that out.
kids born during the pandemic were like
Gifted.
walking earlier,
yeah.
holding their head up at like 3 weeks old. It was insane. Like the
Like, is she
pandemic babies,
basically, is she brilliant?
they're a different breed.
She is,
Yeah.
but I like to think that she would have been regardless of her birthday. Everybody thinks their kids are brilliant, right? Like,
that's funny.
her sister is super smart, but yeah, she. Now that you say that, like,
Yeah.
she's
They were walking earlier. They're
yeah.
talking earlier. Then
Well, she
I
also
saw,
had a big sister to tell her
That's
everything,
true.
right? I'm sure your 6-year-old was like, let's go run and let's go play. I'm
right.
ready. And yeah.
So during the pandemic, all these kids were watching Peppa Pig at like 2 years old, and they started talking with like British accents.
yeah.
They watched so much.
step
Peppa
away
Pig.
from the TV and iPads, all right? And cell phones.
The parents are working from home. They're like, just go watch the pig.
That's
while
true,
I
yeah,
work,
what can you do?
I remember watching a lot of Peppa Pig. Yeah, because it was, I was working from home, right?
Yeah,
Those first
right.
3 months, Google was like, they were very kind. They kept us on staff.
Yeah.
But like just work from home. So they gave us projects that we had to do. And so I would spend half my day feeling guilty that I wasn't paying attention to my daughter.
Yeah.
And then I would spend the other half of my day feeling guilty
Guilty
because
that
I
you
wasn't
weren't-
getting any work done
Yeah,
because I was
sure.
watching Peppa Pig.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I kind of picked
know.
up on the British accent a little bit. You?
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of Peppa Pig.
Oh, gosh.
I'm Peppa Pig.
Crazy.
I haven't lived in California in 25 years, and
Yeah.
people still tell me I have a California accent.
I don't hear it.
Oh.
Really?
I feel like-
I get that all the time.
Yeah. No.
When I get tired and maybe I've had a little too much to drink,
Yeah.
I spent some time in the Carolinas. My mouth gets a little lazy. My
Yeah.
jaw drops a bit.
Huh. So
It-
it's a little
it
bit
heads
like that,
that
too?
way, yeah.
Interesting.
If I go to the South, though, they think I'm from New York City. You talk so fast. You're
Yeah.
from New York City.
I've heard a lot of people.
Yeah.
Actually, they just asked me I'm from the Midwest. I'm
Yeah.
like, why? They're like, yeah, I can tell you have an accent. I'm like, no, I don't.
no.
I am like,
you all have an accent.
yeah,
I don't.
Yeah, no.
I don't know what LAans sound like, though.
Well,
Unless you're a Valley girl.
Some
Oh, my
of-
God.
some of it is I have worked.
Like, pasta
I used
is
to
so
use.
cool.
I would use dude like a comma.
Oh, I
right?
use
and
dude a lot.
I've worked that out
Yeah.
for the most part.
I call
Um,
everybody dude. My mom gets mad about it.
Dude, buy my
Dude.
pasta.
What is wrong with us?
It's so like it's versatile. Dude
It is.
so versatile.
I call everybody dude.
Yeah.
Dude, let me ask my father-in-law.
Well, you know what? Because dude, it's like girl or boy, right?
Right. Yeah.
And you don't want to offend anybody nowadays. So you're just like, oh, dude. No
my son
way.
does that. He'll go to tell me something. He's like, dude. He's like, oh, never mind. I was with my friends last night.
Yeah.
I'm like,
You can
dude,
express
Mom.
frustration with it. Dude.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, you could do so much with it.
Dude.
And then you could be excited about the pasta. Be like, dude.
Dude.
Or you could just ask a question like, dude, is this working?
Dude.
Dude. Dude.
Dude.
Well, as you can probably put together, I like to drink wine occasionally.
Okay.
On occasion.
He doesn't like to share, though, I noticed.
Yeah. No.
I was like, do you
True
think he's
wine
going to bring wine?
drinker.
She's like, yeah, I'm sure he's going to bring wine. I'm like, I'm glad I brought a drink.
I was not told it was
We're not-
BYOB.
We're not going to let you live this one down.
God.
Just like you'll never let me live down
Yes.
Olive Garden.
I'll tell you what. If you can find a BYOB Olive Garden, I will. No, so my wife and I love drinking wine. Always have. And, when you work at Italy, that's basically like a master's degree in Italian wine.
Yeah.
And I had been in various places. I was a sous chef in a restaurant in Arizona. There was one of those like, wine spectator award of excellence. And there was 1,000 bottles in the cellar. And I learned a lot from the owner and the som there. And again, just sort of trial and error. You taste enough, you try enough. Like I'm one of those guys, when I go to a restaurant, I don't get the same glass twice.
Oh,
yeah.
You know,
okay.
because I want to try. I want to see what's
Everything.
out there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if it sucks, great. Then I know what that tastes like that I don't like, and you start to get those sort of mental Rolodex of flavors and sense memories.
Can I ask you, is it really that important, like how you open the bottle of wine?
Good question.
In terms of, well, yeah, I mean, you don't want to attack the thing, you know.
Like you don't just
Steak
turn
knife. Like
it.
an
You just don't turn it off. That's what we do here.
The twist.
You don't like push the button from the box.
Listen, I have seen servers try to take a wine key to a screw cap.
Oh,
So,
no.
Oh no.
It's like,
And
yo,
you're like,
just-
oh.
it's that little thing right up top there. If you pay a certain amount of money
Yeah.
for a wine bottle in a restaurant, right, and some dude comes out and just hacks at the foil with his knife, like, yeah, like, come on, dude, show it some respect.
Yeah, true,
Right?
true.
Because somebody's life's work's gone into that
Yes.
bottle.
Yes.
I'm about to really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't attack.
But does it affect the taste?
No.
No.
Okay.
So I went on this interview at a brunch place, and the guy asked me, do you know how to open a bottle of wine? I said, I open bottles of wine at home all the time.
Right.
And he just looked at me and did not think it was funny at all.
You didn't get hired.
No. No.
So how would you like if you were impressed with the way someone opened a bottle of wine for you? What would they do?
Cut the
like
foil.
Getting the foil cut off, but doing it in a way so that the label is always facing me.
Stop it.
Okay.
Really?
Like, you know,
I
to
wouldn't
one
have
side
thought
or
of
the
that.
other.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
And yeah, basically you get you go through the entire process and the label has faced you the entire time.
Huh.
Okay.
Like,
Interesting.
foil off, cork off. Smelling the cork is not a thing.
It's weird, right?
It's not a thing.
Yeah.
You know,
It's just something
Italian wine
fancy
service,
people.
they will taste it themselves.
oh.
You know, the French or, you know, very often in America, they'll give it to you. But the standard in Italian wine service is they'll take it off to a little side table. They'll taste it for you.
And they'll taste it to make
And
sure
then
it's
they-
not
yeah.
turned into vinegar.
Not corked or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
so they don't have you taste it. They will go do it first.
Oftentimes they'll do it themselves.
Oh,
because they're
yeah.
like, what the fuck do you know? We know what it should
what
taste
it should taste like.
Yeah.
That I never
Well,
even
and
thought of that.
It cuts
honestly.
down on the idea, like, because there is a difference between a wine that is not good and a wine that you just don't like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And that's
right.
fine if you just don't like it. Great, but don't tell me it's not good
Right.
when I know the difference.
Yeah.
So
you
have
know.
you ever returned a wine and said this is not good?
No, I have been incredibly lucky in restaurants. I
Okay.
can't remember the last time I got a corked bottle if it's happened at all. I mean,
Yeah.
I have opened them for people, and I can. A lot of times, if it's bad enough, you can smell it when the cork comes
Right.
off.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's times where it's just faint enough that someone will say something, but I can't remember it ever happening to me.
Oh, that's
I've been-
good.
I don't
is
think
there
I've
some
ever
wood I
had
can
a
knock
bad
out. Like the
bottle.
next one I get, now it's gonna suck, right?
I've
I
had
did-
wines
no.
that I didn't like, but I've never had like a bad bottle.
I remember the first time I had a wine that had kind of gone through a little bit of secondary fermentation. It had gotten kind of carbonic in the bottle, and I had never tasted that before. And so I thought, it's like, oh, this isn't right.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and I'm quickly like Googling on my phone.
Sure,
Is this
like-
secondary fermentation, carbonic maceration. Oh, okay, this can happen sometimes with these bottles. Cool, great. That's just something that was new to me.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it had just ever so slightly a little bit of fizz, a little bit of effervescence to it.
Years ago, I had
like
one that
sparkly
tasted
wine.
like, or smelled like skunk as soon as they opened it.
Ew.
I don't know what that would have been. Because I thought that would be like beer would do that.
Right.
We were at a restaurant. They uncorked it, and you could kind of smell it. And they were like, "I'm gonna get you another bottle," and walked away right away.
Really?
Like they knew it was bad. And I was like,
Yeah.
"What was that?" Like it smelled. Yeah. I thought that was
Sometimes-
interesting.
Sometimes
You never know, right?
You can
It
tell
was-
right away.
It was
Yeah.
somebody's weed stash.
Yeah. I don't know.
And what really, a lot of what we do at Americano and what gets people nowadays is these natural and organic wines that are becoming more and more popular. They tend to be kind of funky.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, because when you think of a natural wine, the easiest way to think of it is nothing added, nothing taken away.
Yeah.
The wine is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so oftentimes what's happened in the cellar is whatever sulfur or SO2 has been added will cut down on that funk. And if they don't do any of that in the bottle, you're going to get a bottle that is kind of wild. I had Frank Cornelissen is a winemaker from Sicily, and I had a bottle of his red one time, and I swear to God, it smelled like blue cheese.
Oh
Ooh.
wow.
Yeah,
I would probably like
blue
that.
cheese. And I was not ready for that.
No.
Yeah,
And
but that
luckily,
is the correct way.
The
That- or
owner of the
correct
restaurant was there with me. I had been his chef for like 3 weeks, and he was still trying to impress me. And so he opens this. And Cornelisen's wines are not cheap. And he opened it up. I was like, blue cheese? Really? He goes, oh, no, that's how it should be. This is great.
I would have started pouring it on my salad.
Cool.
I'm like, okay.
Vinaigrette.
Yeah.
So then what would you suggest eating with a bottle of wine that smells like blue cheese? Mozzarella?
A steak. That's what we had.
Okay.
We had a 32-ounce ribeye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about pairing, because I have no idea.
I don't know what kind of wine and cheese go together. Do you want smelly wine and smelly cheese, or do you want one of them to be neutral?
And throw pasta dishes in there too with the wine.
You can go I'm going to screw these terms up. There's contrasting pairings where if you've got a smelly cheese, maybe you want something that is
kind of
not.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can play off each other, or there is the complementary pairing. I think funky and funky might get a little weird.
Might get a little funky.
Might get a little funky.
What about nutty? Like you got nutty cheeses. Like I think Parmesan's kind of nutty.
Parmesan, I'm big on, when it comes to Italian cheeses, I always fall back on like grows together, goes together.
Okay.
Parmesan comes from Emilia Romagna, right? And so what wine do they drink in Emilia Romagna? They drink Lambrusco.
Okay.
I don't know what any of those words were, but sounds delicious.
Okay, so Emilia Romagna, everything that you love about Italian food,
Yeah.
prosciutto, balsamic,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Parmigiano,
Yes.
all comes from that region, Emilia Romagna.
Okay.
Bologna is the town that is kind of the heart of that region, if you will. All the good stuff comes from Bologna.
It's like bolognese sauce, right?
Absolutely. There it is.
Delish.
Now, they call it mortadella.
Yes.
You and I
What's the
call it
gabagool?
bologna.
Yeah.
What's the gabagool?
Gabagool. Well, the gabagool is.
Sorry,
I am
had
among
to
friends
say
here. No, because it's funny. That's how I label the Capicola at the store. I call it it's gabagool.
It's a gabagool.
Gabagool. And one of my favorite memes of all time is Tony Soprano laying on in the pool chair like asleep. It says when the gabagool kicks in.
Oh, yes.
Capicola is pork collar.
Okay.
That has been dry cured.
I will eat all of that shit.
Now, we'll get nerdy
I will
again.
watch you.
Because I love telling this story too. So pork collar the Italians have salumi, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Salami?
Yes.
No,
salami.
It's
So
salumi.
think of it like
Yep.
whiskey. You know where they say like all bourbon is whiskey, but not all
Yes.
whiskey is bourbon?
I always mix that one up.
All
Okay.
salami is salumi, but not all salumi is salami.
Salami,
So we
okay.
have a mix. We've got prosciutto is whole muscle. We serve culatello at Americano. Culatello is like prosciutto's cool cousin.
Okay.
Couldn't get it in the States for a long time because of the way they make it.
Right.
USDA was like, nope,
Right.
not doing it.
Yeah.
Right,
And then
because
you
it's not
finally,
it's not processed enough for us Americans.
Oh, you mean you just hung it with a
That's
window
too
open? Like, we're not
natural.
selling that here.
Definitely
You know?
has bugs in it. I'll eat it.
So, there's a cheese for you then.
Yeah,
There's
I'll
a
eat
Sardinian
anything.
cheese. It's a thing. I forget the name
It's
of it.
got
There's
bugs
a
in it?
Sardinian cheese with bugs in it.
Oh shit!
Hung by windows.
I'll try it.
Yeah.
I'll try anything.
But no, it's culatello. They only make it. They only hang it from November to March along the Po River because that's when the humidity and the breeze is perfect coming off the river to cure the culatello.
Wow.
But then gabagool, that's whole. But if you do like a cacciatorini or a salami di manzo, that's ground or what you.
Okay.
Like, if you go to the store, you get a little koto salami.
Yeah.
That's something that's been ground
Ground
and cured.
up and
but
cured.
that is salumi too, and we have
Okay.
a lot of those. We do salami di manzo. We carry a really awesome Spanish ham too.
Oh
If
wow.
you're into Spanish hams,
I'm definitely into Spanish hams.
You didn't even know it.
Didn't know it existed till just now. Definitely into it.
gotta get into Spanish hams. If you like country ham, in America we have country ham.
I like all pork products.
Yeah, if it's salty and was once a pig, I will definitely
eat it.
We mentioned
I
my
will eat
gallbladder
it.
earlier. Should we get back
Yes.
to that?
Yes.
Are you starting to realize why I had to have gallbladder?
You know
surgery?
what? It seems like half the people have issues after,
Yeah.
and half
Yeah.
the people don't.
You don't have any, right?
I am one of the people that
You're
I
very
did not
lucky.
have any issues after.
I thus far, knock wood, I've been very
Good.
lucky. I've been the
Good.
same. There was a couple of days there where it like my system didn't know what to do with itself.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, because
We're gonna get to the TMI portion of the interview now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We love it.
So you ready for
Are you
this?
gonna talk
Yeah.
about poop?
I am. Yes.
Yes.
Because not only did I have my gallbladder out on a Friday, the Tuesday before that surgery, I had been scheduled to have a colonoscopy.
Oh my God.
That I had already put off twice because I had to reschedule it.
Double booked.
So in 1 week, I went colonoscopy, gallbladder surgery, and my system was just like,
What the
fuck,
heck?
I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
And what's really not fun is to prep for a colonoscopy.
Yeah.
They tell you to eat in a way that I was really scared was going to trigger a gallbladder attack. Because they're like, oh, no, the low roughage and don't eat any of this. But for the gallbladder, they're like, high fiber and low fat. I was like,
Yes.
I'm going to die
Yes.
because of one of these things. Thankfully, that did not happen.
That's good. Yeah.
Am I the first person who's ever come here and talk about a colonoscopy? Just to be clear.
Yes, I
Maybe.
think so.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so. But we've talked about a lot on this show.
We
Yeah.
talk
no
about
worries
poop
there.
pretty much
That's
every
cool.
episode.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I got a physical last fall. I turned 45 last October, and I didn't know they'd lowered the age.
Oh, and they were
so-
like, "Oh, we're gonna put something up your butt," and you're like, "What?"
I mean, I knew it was coming eventually. I was like, oh, I thought this was like 50.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
nope, it's 45. Oh.
So my husband has colon cancer in his family. So at like 35, they started doing colonoscopies.
Yeah.
Well,
on him,
yeah,
and
that's
he
good.
hates it.
Mm-hmm.
It was an amazing nap.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, it is.
I woke up
Yeah.
and I was like, Doc, I have small children. I could have used another hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
Why'd you
told
rush
him.
through this?
I feel like they only put him in Twilight because he has to do it every year since he was 35. They don't like putting you under that much, you know?
Yeah.
And he absolutely hates it. And one time, he didn't even tell me he was scheduled for one. He drove himself, right? So I get a phone call at work from the hospital that says, you need to come pick up your husband because we just gave him a colonoscopy and he drove himself here. And I was like, there's a fucking snowstorm outside right now. I'm at work. And I was like, okay, let me take my lunch. I get there 45 minutes later after driving through the snowstorm. And they're like, yeah, he took off. And I was like, son of a bitch. I went home and yelled at him and then went back to work.
Oh, my gosh.
He's terrible. He's a terrible human being. I love him to death, but he's a terrible human being. When he's inconvenienced, he is a very mean human being. He's a grumpy old man.
All right, so on your website,
Yes.
it says that you're closed for retail right now. Is that the gallbladder or it's because you're redoing a few
it's
things?
Redoing a few things.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
we were going to take a break around the 4th of July anyway.
Yeah.
Because everyone should take a break around the 4th of July.
Yeah. Yes.
Nobody's
Everyone
out.
should just take a break.
Everybody goes
Yeah.
on the road. Nobody's hanging out in town.
Right.
So we knew we were going to take a break, and then the gallbladder thing happened. Like, okay, cool. And then like that week and a half just sort of gave us an opportunity to step back and say, okay, what's working? What's
Yeah.
not? How do we continue to push the things that are working? And then what do we do about the things that aren't? And how do we tackle those? And what can we do? And so we're working on that, and we're solving those and knocking them out. And I didn't want to like piecemeal it and just kind of half-ass it and do it as we go.
course,
Like, let's
yeah.
just do the smart thing, close the doors, and then figure it out.
So you had a building. You have a building that people actually would go, okay.
my business partners own the building.
Okay.
And they have a jewelry business that everybody out there knows.
Yeah.
And so that building, we're in their old event space.
Okay.
We built a bar out. We put in the equipment, the shelving for all the wine, and we sort of made that front area Americano. And then there's this. Right now, it's a very poorly organized storage area that we will eventually do something with. And then I do all of my pasta bar stuff, and we do bar snacks and things for Americano in the kitchen in the back.
Okay.
Nice.
So it's just massive. It feels like a massive undertaking some days.
Yeah.
But
So what's working? What did you decide so far that's working?
what's working is we do events. The events are very, very well attended. I tell people we're not a restaurant in the traditional sense, and then that's because we kind of do it, again, learning from the pandemic. We don't want to be open every night and hoping that people show up.
Right,
It's like,
yeah.
no, we're going to do dinner these 3 or 4 nights during the month. We're going to sell tickets ahead of time so that we know who's coming. We know what to prep. We know how much labor we need, and
Yeah.
there's not a lot of waste.
Oh,
That was
that's
one of the things
excellent.
Google drilled
That
into
is-
me is like
yeah.
limiting food waste, right?
Right.
And it also gives us a chance to kind of stretch ourselves creatively a little bit. We do a burger night. I do pasta nights, but then we've done some other things. Like my brother-in-law is a very talented sushi chef.
Ooh.
Ran counters in the city and in Denver where he used to live.
Wow.
I love
And so
sushi
he's
also.
we did sushi under the stars a couple weeks ago.
I saw that actually because I was, looking on your page and stuff, and I looked at your Google reviews, which are all excellent. I didn't see not one bad review, which I wouldn't expect a bad review because it looks amazing. And somebody said, "Oh, we just went to Sushi Under the Stars, and it was so awesome." And I was like, "Oh, I want to do that."
Oh, what a talented family.
He's great. He gets up and he does his thing, and I end up being the server that night.
Yeah.
You know, and so I put on my little seersucker sport coat and pour wine for people. And I try to be unobtrusive, and then he and I will start, bullshitting back and forth, and then it turns into a dog and pony show.
You know what? That's awesome.
So people can no longer order, right? They just have to wait for the nights events? Or they can order?
They can't. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Here's what I'll tell you.
I'll tell you.
Like, how do we get your pasta this weekend?
If you want my pasta this weekend, you can come to any one of on the weekend 3 different places.
Okay.
I'm at the Palatine Farmers Market.
Ooh.
At the Palatine train station from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Okay.
You can come and meet my now famous father-in-law.
Yes.
At the Woodstock Farmers Market.
Okay.
On the square.
That's where we're going.
From 8 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Okay.
Or I will also be at the Farmers Market at the Dole in Crystal Lake. Okay. And that one is 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That one is a lot of fun.
Okay.
I enjoy all the places I go to. The Dole is it's like
the Dole
an old
Mansion,
mansion.
Right? Yeah.
I was going to say,
we know where
that's
that's
where I
at.
know it's from.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you guys took pictures there.
We did.
Yeah.
The ladies who started that market have done an unbelievable job. It's like twice as big as it was last summer.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And it's like brunch with a farmer's market. They have a full bar.
Ooh.
Okay.
We're going to that
already.
And I know, right? Like I tell people, they sold it to me 2 ways. They told me they were going to have a bar, and they told me it didn't start till 10 a.m.
Oh, perfect.
So my alarm doesn't go off at 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Wow, yeah.
So is that Saturday and Sunday?
Just Sundays.
Oh, just
10,
because I got to work Saturday, but let's go Sunday.
Okay.
You want to?
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you're ever in Barrington on Thursday evenings, there's a Barrington Farmers Market as well.
We don't
We're
go
there
to
from
Barrington.
3 to 7.
We're not fancy enough for
We're
that
going to
place.
the Dole Mansion. We're fancy enough for the Dole Mansion.
We are.
Man, the hell with Barrington,
We are.
man.
Yeah.
Unless you live there. Thanks for coming.
Barrington's great.
We love Barrington.
But no, you should come see me at the Dole. The Dole's a great time.
Okay. Very good. All right, let's go back to wines real quick.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's your favorite? What do you have? Number one sellers.
Number one sellers. So obviously our expertise is in Italian wine.
Is that a lot of red?
We do have a lot of red.
Okay.
Because what I have discovered over the years, I've built wine lists in Arizona, I've built wine lists in Chicago, and no matter what the temperature is, no matter where it is, it's 3-1 red.
Really?
I've 112 degrees outside in August, people still drinking red wine in Phoenix. I don't get it.
Really?
I don't want to get it.
No.
Give me some rosé.
Yeah.
I used to expedite on the restaurant. I would have my little deli cup, and the servers always knew to come give me some rosé about midway through service because it's hot. I don't want red wine.
No.
It's gross. But yeah,
warm
I mean,
red
we sell.
wine. That's like drinking warm beer in Germany. I guess you just got to be German to enjoy it.
Yeah,
You got to be Italian to enjoy the red hot wine on a hot day.
Well, but there's a lot of really cool wines. Like one that we carry specifically, these guys in Sicily, they wanted a red wine they could drink in Sicily in the summertime. And so they did this natural, it only macerates for like 7 days. It's very light. It's low alcohol. You serve it with a bit of a chill. It's amazing. It's a blend of Nerello Mascalese and Nero d'Avola.
That's the shit you drink all day long.
You can't, a porch pounder.
Yeah.
If there was a red wine that was a porch pounder, it would be this one.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Wines we got all over. You know, I knew we'd have to have some Napa and Sonoma because that's a lot of what people want. And if you dig deep enough, you find really cool and interesting wines that are outside of those over-extracted big things. And those wines have their place too. Listen, I'll drink a big inky red wine from Paso Robles because, like I said, I am from California, and you can take the boy out of California, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Zinfandels have a very special place in my heart. But there's a lot more to the world of wine than just California.
I think I'm like a Prosecco kind of girl.
So I'm just going to ask that. So I feel like I've gone on.
He just shook his head at me. Like,
I love Prosecco. No, I was going to say we have the best one you'll ever have.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
I've
excited.
been to wineries before, and
I've
I
never
just
been
don't
to a
like
winery.
anything except for like a sweeter Riesling. Like that's the
I
only
love
thing that I
Riesling.
can drink.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I want to try red, but I'm someone that likes, I don't like super sweet. I don't want my feet too swollen. But like, what would I try in a red that you think I would like? Like I've
Probably
tried
that
so many
stuff we
reds,
just
I
talked about.
cannot. But I like high alcohol volume.
Well, you just got to drink 4 bottles then.
All right. So just off the top of my head, Frappato. Frappato is a light, very approachable red wine from Sicily.
Okay. We're going to try it.
I would seek out from Spain, Monastrell, what the French would call Morvedra. They call Monastrell or Monastrea in Spain.
Sounds like Mortadella.
Look, it wouldn't be me if I didn't mispronounce something, so I probably screwed that up.
Yeah, that's okay.
Somebody's going to listen to this and be, that guy's been saying that wrong for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I have, probably. And that's fine. Seek out those types.
Okay.
But see, here's what's going to get you, though, is you're going to have a Monastrell, and you're going to have it from Spain. It's like, oh, it's light and approachable and delicious and wonderful, and you're going to go have a Morvedra from a certain part of the Rhone, and it's going to be this big, beefy thing because it's an entirely different climate. And so you just have to kind of play with. I would look for, if you can find it, Bartolino from northern Italy is great too.
So
that sounds familiar. I may have tried that.
Okay, because I talk about, it's a blue bottle and it's got a picture of Italy on it, and I always hack the name, and it's called like Bartnutra or something like that. Bartnutra.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes.
And I think it's a Riesling.
It is.
And my aunt gave it to me one time, and I was like, this is fucking delicious. We drank like 4 bottles. And so like the next weekend I go to the store, I'm like, shit, this stuff is like $18 a bottle.
What's an average selling price for a good wine?
$90.
For a good wine, like if you want, good is subjective, right? But
a celebrating wine. It's like a special occasion. How about that?
I will typically spend, when I'm buying a bottle of wine, I look for something between $18 and $24.
Okay.
That's why he's a chef and real popular, and we're not.
Yeah.
That's our sweet spot at the store.
$7.99. Yes, I'm buying 6.
See, but we have a $13 bottle of wine from Portugal at the store. The pound for pound, it's the best bottle of wine in the store.
Yeah,
because it's $13. It drinks like 26.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
And so and that's something that I learned early on too, is from the guy in Arizona. He said, look, if the second cheapest bottle that you have is amazing, people are going to go wherever you want them to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if you put that thought and care into taking care of that end of the price point, they know you've done it all the way down the line.
Right.
So, yeah, $6.99. Listen, there's.
He's like, listen, stop doing that.
You go below 10. There's a couple of wines that I've had from Spain. Gol Pablo is one that comes to mind. Comes in a liter. It's $10.
Okay.
25% more wine.
Yeah.
It's only $10 retail.
Yeah.
Delicious. They do a white and a red. And special occasion wines. How special are we talking?
Birthday.
Oh yeah.
Birthday.
Anniversary.
Like where you want to spend a little more money.
Birthday, I'd probably go 30 to 50.
30,
yeah.
30 to 50.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
We
what I mean.
Step
I
up
would,
our game a little bit.
Well, I would gladly
Every weekend's a celebration for us. We always have a reason to celebrate. We got to step it up a little bit.
I would gladly spend $30 to $50 on a bottle of wine for a birthday. But if we're just going out for the weekend, I don't want to spend more than like 20, 25, you know.
Right. But
my
sounds
neighbor's,
like we could get some
my neighbor's
good wine.
friend brought over this box of wine from Aldi for $6.99. I had 9 glasses of it. It was freaking delicious. It tasted like juice. And I got wasted. And I woke up without a headache. I could not believe it.
Let's talk about that.
As I was drinking it, I was like, I'm going to have the worst fucking
No
headache
headache?
tomorrow.
Really?
No headache.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. And it was like a blush. And it was fruity. It tasted like cranberry juice cocktail. And I was just down in the shit.
What was it called?
I don't know.
Oh.
I told her she needs to bring more of that over.
You might, if you like to drink heavily without a hangover.
Yeah.
And who doesn't?
Wait, just she likes to drink heavily. You could just stop it there.
Don't give a shit
Whether
about the
I
hangover.
wake up with a hangover or not.
Fair
Remember,
enough.
It was a good night.
I have no children.
Oh, yes. You're one. Oh, sorry. You're one of those people. God, I remember
I gotta
those
let the
days.
dog out. I'm like, go outside. I'm going back to bed.
In my experience, the natural wines are a great way to, there have been nights where I've had too much to drink. It happens.
Yeah.
And when I have had too much and I've been drinking a natural wine, I don't feel as terrible the next day as you sometimes do with a more traditionally made wine.
Because what do they talk about the sulfur in the red wine is what gives you the hangover?
It's a mix of a lot of things. There's like sugars and sulfur. Some people react to SO2 differently.
Okay.
Sulfur is a naturally occurring sulfites, I should say.
Sulfites.
They are a naturally occurring process or a naturally occurring byproduct of the winemaking process. There is not a wine in the world that does not have sulfites in one way or another. What confuses people is that the Europeans don't have to label it that way.
Oh, okay.
And so people are like, oh, I drank in Europe that doesn't have sulfites. Like, no, you did. You did have sulfites. They just didn't have to put it on the label.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so what the natural wine guys do is if they add any at all, and a lot of them don't, it's very small. It's like a couple of parts per million.
Yeah.
And that's just enough to keep the wine stable in the bottle.
Okay.
Because without that, it could get wild and weird. And
So people blame it on that, but really that's probably not what it is.
It's a lot of things. It's the way your body metabolizes alcohol. It's not.
I start with a headache and end with one, so it doesn't matter. I'm just like $6.99, $30. I'm gonna have a headache tomorrow.
It's a perceived value thing though too. You know, it's like I wouldn't think twice about spending $45 on a bottle of bourbon.
Right.
Yes.
But that bottle of bourbon is going to last me 6 months.
Right.
Yes.
Right. That $45 bottle of wine.
It's 3 glasses.
How many days
like
do you give a bottle of wine? How many days?
It depends.
Yeah.
I know that's not the answer you're looking for.
No, I know.
What do you mean how many days? You
I
don't?
never finish a bottle of wine.
I don't know why.
I never finish it. My aunt says 2 days at the most, which I can see because the color changes. I'm not a very heavy drinker during the week at all, actually. So
Sure. Except for Tuesday nights when we're recording podcasts.
gets a little fun. But no, I mean, once you open
if you
it.
get a big structured red wine, I have had Portuguese wines on day 5 that taste amazing.
Okay.
And some of that also has to do with how much oxygen is in the bottle. Like how much of that bottle do you still have left on day 5? Right?
Sure.
Those natural wines, drink them tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because
What about
there's
the bottle
nothing
stoppers?
preserving
Right.
it.
Right.
Where you
Those are
like
good.
suck it out.
You can take the oxygen out.
Yeah.
Even if it's a red, throw it in the fridge. Obviously, you're going to need to let it come out and kind of
Sure.
come back to temp a little bit. But refrigeration will help extend the life too.
Can I ask about decanters?
Sure.
So
It's a
explain it to me.
So
Does it make a difference?
You're
pouring it?
aerating. Yeah, you're aerating the wine.
But I don't know what that means. You're adding air to it
You're
because it's been stuffed up in a bottle.
yeah, and
So you're stirring it.
the naturally occurring nose or aroma, whatever word you want to use, you're heightening that effect by giving the wine some air.
Okay.
And so when you put your nose, different wines actually are meant to be served in different glasses. You know, Burgundy wines are served in it. It's like a goblet almost. It's much wider and it comes to a tighter point than like a Bordeaux.
Okay.
And it's because those wines tend to be a little more floral on the nose, and they want you to experience that when you put that glass to your nose. And so you're kind of goosing the process along. And sometimes wines, they just need to open up. If you get something that's 10, 12 years old, it'll be.
You want it to air out.
Yeah, you need it to just kind
It'll
of
be
sit there
I was going to ask
and
that. Like, do you
relax
really need to air it?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's what I always thought. Was it just a process to like show it off or is it important?
It helps a lot of wines. Now, a lot of winemakers don't make their wines to lay down anymore.
Okay.
I think I read one time like 90% of the wine purchased in this country is consumed in 3 hours from purchase. 90%.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I see them crazy ladies at the store buying, the 6 bottles because you get 10% off if you buy 6 or more, and they're back 3 days later.
You know what's happening.
My people come to me. Yes.
Invite
Where's
me.
the party at? Yeah.
I'll bring some bottles.
Well, that's the thing. Like it's, the American palate has come to dominate the winemaking process. Even the Italians now, you're starting to see, because some of those traditional Italian wines, like a Brunello di Montalcino, that is a wine that has to, by rule, has to sit for 5 years before they'll even release it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's
like-
crazy.
So you got to make money somehow. Like if you're in the business, like nobody, it's cool.
And
if
you got
it's a
us
hobby,
big
but
fat Americans that are like, give it all to
Can
me
you
right
imagine
now.
that process, though? You let it sit for 4 years. You're like, nope, not ready yet. You got to start
Oh,
all over
God.
again, and then wait, another year. Nope, not ready yet. I don't have the patience.
I'd be like, I bottled this yesterday. You want to try it?
Tastes like vinegar. I'm still drinking it.
I'm
I don't
drinking
care. I can't wait 5
Probably
years
just
for
have
this.
a headache tomorrow. It's fine.
So best compliment you've ever received as a chef, and I'm not say best or worst critique, like that you can just remember.
Oh gosh, you're really
yeah.
making him.
I am.
Now.
I am. This is the thinking episode.
I would say your best compliment is when you made that carbonara and he went, eh.
No, I do.
Well,
the
I'm
one that
thinking like
immediately-
from a customer, maybe.
The one that
Okay.
immediately
Yeah,
sprang
not
to
from
mind.
learning.
I do hear from since I started doing pasta bar. My most popular item. I do a pork ragu that I call Sunday sauce.
Okay.
Ooh.
Pork shoulder, Italian sausage I make myself, red wine, organic tomato, simmers for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
And I've been very fortunate. A lot of people, they come up and they tell me like, look, I haven't had gravy since my aunt made it when I was a kid. This was every bit as good as what she did. And
That's
like,
awesome.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. to
Yes,
hear.
yes.
Because food's like in some ways it's all about memory and
It is.
and that. So
I think about Ratatouille when he eats the Ratatouille and he's like, oh.
yeah, and it flashes back
Yeah.
to being a kid.
Yeah.
That's a thing, and it's
Yeah.
a powerful thing. It's
That's every time I make biscuits and gravy. That it takes me back.
I love biscuits.
I
God,
love biscuits and gravy. And my Southern grandma taught my mom how to make it, who taught me how to make it. So
It's hard.
clearly
too,
it's the best.
you do this long enough and you get jaded about things, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you forget that, like, it's Tuesday night to me, but it's Table 12's 35th
Right.
anniversary.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or the other story I love to tell is like I've probably had 6,000 balls of burrata in my life.
Right.
Right? Burrata is a cliche to me.
I love
They're
burrata.
good. I love burrata. That's great.
I could just.
Yes. Just eat it like an apple.
I need nothing
God, I would
else.
too.
Just
But it's also like, okay, it's burrata, great. And
Yeah.
then every now and then I'll still come across somebody who's never had it before.
Yeah.
It blows their mind.
Yeah.
And I have to remind myself, like, no. What is passe to me
Right.
can still be a mind-altering experience to somebody
That's
else.
amazing that you acknowledge that
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that's. I think everybody needs to acknowledge that in their everyday life, right? I would say all the time in retail, like people coming to the service desk and they don't know, I'm going to make a return. Do I need my card that I used? And you're just thinking, no, you idiot. You got your receipt and you got the product here. But I do it every day, 10 hours a day. They have
Right.
no fucking clue what happens over here, So
Yeah.
it is. You really have to think about, like, people don't do this every day like I do, know? So it's amazing to acknowledge that and let them live that experience and be excited for them.
Yeah. Best compliment I ever got. My first exec job, I was living in Phoenix, and my restaurant was right next to the Ritz-Carlton in Phoenix. It's like the smallest Ritz-Carlton in the entire chain. And they would come over and eat some of the staff. And the concierge came over and had dinner one night. And there was a gentleman in Phoenix who had worked at the French Laundry. It was very, very famous in Phoenix. He had won a James Beard Award or had been nominated for a James Beard Award, something. And he had just opened another restaurant down the street. And the concierge ate dinner, and she called me over. And she said to me, she said, what you do stands toe-to-toe with everything he's doing down the street.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was like, I want to get that stitched on a pillow.
Yeah.
'Cause like I said, it was my first exec job. I didn't know my ass from a hole in the ground. I
Yeah.
was just struggling to make it happen every day. And that I floated for 3 weeks on that one.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
So that's my story.
That's
Thanks for having me.
amazing.
Peace out.
Yeah.
I'm done. I got nothing better than that. Sorry.
That's amazing. So for these nights, these events, where can people find you? Tell us all about all that.
So when we put tickets up for events, we're on Talk. Talk is the reservation service started by the guys who own Alinea down in the city. And they started it to sort of combat what I was talking about, right? Like if you sold a ticket, you know who's coming.
Right.
And it cut down on cancellations and empty seats. And so anytime we release tickets, it's always 2 to 3 weeks ahead of time, and we do it on Talk.
So how do we find
exploretalk.com
Okay.
/Americano Woodstock.
Okay.
And you can always go to americanowoodstock.com / events. And we have a button on our events page that will take you straight to Talk.
Okay.
Yes.
To order your
Okay.
tickets.
Look at, she's doing it right now.
I see it.
We do.
She's looking at wines
We
too.
do wine events. Yeah, we just.
Well,
we
I see
had
the
one.
Taste of Americano going
coastal.
Yeah.
I missed that one. I was recovering that
Yes.
night. I had surgery that day, literally.
Jeez.
That was a fun one. A lot of white wine, a lot of rosé, because it was summertime, right? It was all wines grown within a view of a body of water somewhere in the world. We had Greek wine, Portuguese wine, all over the world.
So then you have like only wine tastings and then food and wine, or do you always serve food with the wine? Is my question, because I need to know if I have to Uber there or not.
Yeah. Yes. The answer's always yes.
Well, when we do these events, we've always got a bar full of snacks.
Okay.
So, it's
no matter
light,
what, you're going to have
meats,
some
cheeses,
stinky cheeses out there and some
totally.
gabagool.
Crostinis, some gabagool.
All right. Okay.
Because we want you to have a good time. And I tell you, you talk about the things that don't work. We'll circle back to that. I wasn't prepared for how much people just assume that wine tastings should be free.
Oh, wow. Yeah. What is that?
And sometimes they are. Like, great, we're going to have a vendor here, and we're going to have a couple of wines open. We'll do that on Fridays. We call it Free Wine Fridays. I pick 3 wines. I pop them open. You come in the store, whatever you're doing. If you're there to shop, if you're there to hang out, come taste some wine, right? But if I've got 4 of my vendors and I've got 18 wines there, and my staff has prepared food, and we're doing what we do, and we're doing it professionally in the way we've been taught and trained and loved to do,
you're going to pay for it.
That's,
Yeah, for
you
sure.
should
That's
pay for
just
it.
us assuming everybody knows what we know. We can't do that.
No, you can't.
There's a lot of people that think that they want things free.
Well,
So.
we call them Karens, Meredith. Karens and Kens. Kens and Karens.
Well, this was super fun. I was super excited, and now I'm even more excited.
I can't wait to check you out at the farmer's market.
Yes.
On Sunday.
Yes. Come
Dole
see me.
Mansion.
Dole
We're
Mansion.
going.
Yeah.
10 a.m.
Anyone listening to this, if you bring me a Slalom King, you get a free bag of pasta.
Ooh.
What's a Slalom King?
It's a beer from Crystal Lake Brewing.
Oh.
I told you, that's how they sold it to me. They have a full bar there. And that's what I did when it's Miller time.
You guys heard it here
Yeah.
first. You're going to be wasted.
2 weeks ago, guy comes up. I had 2 bags of pasta left. It's like $1.15. I got 2 bags of pasta. He's like, "What do you got left?" I was like, "I got these 2. And if you buy them both, I can go get a beer."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, cool. Give them to me." I'm like,
Nice.
"Yes, sir. Thank you."
That's awesome.
So, yeah. When it's Miller time,
What
it's
did your
Miller time.
father-in-law say about that?
He gets it. He gets it. He's not a beer drinker, but he gets it. He gets it.
Well, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us.
thank
This is
you.
great.
You're here.
Yeah.
This is
Awesome.
great.
I can't wait to come visit you like everywhere. Eat some pasta, some stinky cheese, try some wine.
Am I
some
going to need a
gabagool.
restraining order at some point?
No. We're not like that.
We may get a little annoying, but
No.
I say we, meaning me.
Well,
But I
thanks
won't-
everybody for
I won't
listening.
stalk you or nothing.
And we're going to end it there.
Bye, guys. Happy Friday.
Bye. Happy Friday. Talk to you next week. This podcast is brought to you by Nametag Productions, LLC. Entire podcast, unless otherwise stated, written by the hosts. Drums, written and performed by my son, Steven. The Clopen Effect, a retail podcast. If we have to be all in this together, we might as well make it fun.